Imagine biking on Slickrock, legendary trails, canyoneering through mazes of hidden canyons, and running rugged paths with towering mountain backdrop behind you. It's pretty rare to find this kind of location in the world, and not to mention being surrounded by 2 national parks, the vast landscapes, the open spaces, and the winding river. It's a place that makes you feel truly alive, and I've had some of the most adrenaline-packed moments there, even saving a guest's life. And now we're excited to share this adventure with you. And if you haven't yet been, get ready, because we are going to talk all about how Moab is going to change you. Hey, aloha, and welcome back. We are kicking off September. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. September?
Yeah.
What I can't believe is episode number 27.
27 is big for us. Yeah, I know. It doesn't sound like a lot, but welcome to episode 27. Yeah. This has been an incredible last week. We obviously had Labor Day weekend. How was your Labor Day weekend, Dave?
So I made the ultimate In-N-Out burger copycat recipe. I think it turned out excellent.
Where'd you find the recipe?
TikTok. Where else do you find recipes? Like, I don't want to read a book. I just want to know in 12 seconds what to do.
And what was the highlight?
Well, the highlight was it was a triple with the onions, 3 patties, 3 pieces of cheese. And then there was the just moaning afterward.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if it was moaning in pleasure or sort of bloated, because I don't eat like that very often. So it was good.
But it was a pleasure treat, you know?
What did you have for Labor Day? Like, drop it out there. Don't ask Wendy, because it was probably like some
garden
nuts,
burger, you know?
twigs, gravel.
So I just have to back up. That's it's so fun to do something traditional for Labor Day, because, you know, it just makes you feel like you're part of the whole thing. And I don't know, the smoky fire season here has been a little bit tough for us for training, and it didn't really make us want to stay outside a long time, because we got a bluthering, I don't even know if that's a word, a bluthering of smoke that just infiltrated town over the weekend.
There was a bluthering?
Yeah. And we actually went on a training run. It's so funny, because our training was on Saturday morning. We got up and we could smell the smoke coming in. We're like, you know what, we're just going to go anyway. We didn't really know how bad it was, because we couldn't see. You know, we were still early enough out there on the trails. We parked the car. We sat there, and Dave literally says,
is this a good idea?
Is this a good idea? And I'm looking over and I'm like, probably not. And we didn't really know how thick it was. All I knew is it smelled bad outside, like pretty bad. So I put a face mask on. You remember the COVID masks? I put one of those on. Plus I had another mask over it, because it was a little cool in the morning.
So I think they said the particulate in the air was like around 190, 180, 190.
I think it was on the air quality alert board, it was like 200 plus. It was like 200 plus.
And we saw 2 other runners getting ready to go. And I asked them, is this a good idea?
And they both said
no, but we're doing it anyway. I'm like, all right.
It was great. So, and they had a dog with them too. And I'm like, okay. So my thought was, this was so crazy, because my thought was, we're just probably only going to go like 20 minutes up the trail and turn around and come back. And so we got out, put my mask, and I was just, if I didn't do the masks, I wouldn't have made it. You didn't do one, but I wouldn't have made it. And we started off on the trail, and it was so hot breathing in and out of that mask. And we were on the trail, and we were going for vertical.
I held my breath the whole run. So,
but it was, we really didn't even know what we were getting into until we got out of that little canyon up that road, and we turned up to the little more vertical trailhead there. And then we were kind of like starting to see, the sun hadn't even risen, but we were starting to see the depth and thickness of the smoke. I mean, we were in it.
And check out Wendy's Instagram. There's some video of that. But literally, when the sun finally
popped, yeah,
arose. I don't even know what it was. It was just a red dot in the sky.
There was like this bright red pink dot out there. It was pretty weird. But then the coolest thing was, we got up to we're kind of on our race assimilation run for this race coming up into the month. And when we got up there at the saddle, I was telling Dave, I said, we can either go this way, we can cross this valley, or we can make a beeline back down. And Dave turns to me and says, where's that trail go? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, let's take that.
Yeah, well, it goes straight up.
It wasn't an A-B option. He was like, C optional. that one.
You should know.
And again, it was like straight up because I'm pretty sure I'm like, Dave's probably not going to choose that. So I'm not even going to make that an option. And he's like, no, let's go up that. I'm like, okay, but it's way more up. That was such a cool decision because we'd never been on this trail. It was called Freestone, and we were winding ourselves around the backside of a trail that we were going to come back down on, which we didn't know we were making this huge loop. But it was continuing to go up. I don't think maybe it was close to 2,000 feet we were up there.
Yeah. So it turned out to be a good and uppy trail.
It was.
And then it turned into we had to backtrack through what's called the motorcycle trail, where they allow the motorcycles. And I can tell you those things rip up the environment, right? Like it was just
all of a sudden it becomes like this road, this kind of dusty road that was, ankle deep dust. And we were kind of heading through there, watching our footing. And Dave's like, are you sure we're on the right trail? When we finally get down there, I'm like, I'm positive we're on the right trail. And we get back and we connect with another trail that is called Fat Tire Traverse, which is the one that we had planned on, and it just looped around back down to where we were. So we actually, kind of lollipopped a loop out there, but it was great.
Lollipopped a loop. Boy, you're coming up with some stuff today. So it was great because the best adventures are always the ones where you don't know how it's going to turn out, right? And that's just the way adventure is. So what do we got on tap for today?
Well, before I dive into that, I have to say the other big inspiring thing over the weekend was really diving into and checking out the incredible UTMB races. I mean, all of the legends were there, and it was so fun to be virtually a part of supporting all those incredible runners out there and people we didn't know, and just seeing the vibe and seeing the scene and watching it for a few days and seeing who's winning and not winning and their stories. And man, it was such a high vibe to be part of that. It really inspired me. I mean, what an incredible place to be.
Yeah, so that was so funny because
the Tour de Mont Blanc basically is what we're talking about if you don't know UTMB.
Yeah, and they did an incredible job of live coverage, right? Like for especially because you start running in the night, yeah. But the fans over in Europe are like, they're crazy. They're like cycling fans. They're just on it. Where in the United States, we had some friends that ended up going to Olympic Valley when Western States was there, and they were like, there were all these people in some running race called Western States. Have you ever heard of it? And we're like, no, never heard of it.
When everyone's cheering and supporting these people for days, out there 24/7. It was really cool. But just the whole vibe really inspired me. And I think I loved really watching Heather Jackson do that 100K. I think that's like a goal of mine, to do 62 miles out there on those incredible.
Everybody rocked it out. And shout out to Lin Chin, your girl too. Yeah. The sort of the dark horse a lot of people are not following.
And right. And also first place men's was a total like out of the blue. Vincent Boulard, I think was the name. I don't know how to say your last name. I apologize for that.
You've got to say it Boulard.
Boulard. And I know he originally was from an hour from that race course. I grew up there in what they call NC. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to Vincent. And then of course, first place again. I mean, come on, Katie. I mean, that's just
Katie Scheid.
Crazy that Katie Scheid can that kind of speed and make it through there. So anyway, that was amazing. Updates on our training. We still are going strong. I'm still struggling with some pains, working through that. It's kind of been one thing after another with the piriformis. You guys have walked me through the quadricep tendonitis, and then I've got a shin splint happening. And yeah, we're like 4 weeks out from race days. Am I going to make it? I can't wait to tell this story after this on the next episode.
So as long as we're talking about running and the weekend, tell us about your new toy.
Yes. Okay. So we decided that in order to really gear up for next year's bigger runs, longer runs, and do some more traveling with this, I really wanted to get, I don't know, something that was everyone else was training on. And I'm such a big iFit fan anyway. I thought I've got to get something with elevation to get us through some of the winter months before we escape south. And I pulled the trigger on getting a Nordic Track X22i, I believe the commercial. Have had not great reviews on the 32i, so I did not go that route. And plus it's overkill. But yeah, pulled the trigger on that. Sold my other treadmill, which was an incredible Trueform runner. totally the bomb trainer to get started with. But I wanted to level up. So yeah, that was quite something. We spent days in the garage moving things around in our home gym.
It was a lot of garage.
Yeah, it was a lot of garage time over the weekend, really getting ourselves set up for the transition season. And I think that's important to do it now before the cooler weather sets in. So you're not having to do it and taking time when the cool weather. It's like right when we can transition our equipment set up. Now we're working on getting a little bit different setup for the bikes. We've always had like a tax trainer, a Wahoo trainer. Now we're getting some different larger screens, getting away from the iPads, just kind of leveling up our bike training.
And going all Wahoo. So stay with the iFit. And I was sort of leaning toward that new Wahoo.
The Wahoo treadmill.
But I guess it's going to be their first one, and nobody wants to be the first one of anything.
Let them work out the bugs.
So yeah, there's where it's at.
No, that was great. So that's our update right now. One other update that we are doing this next 4 months with you is what we're learning in AI mastery, because I think it's so important. Dave and I are taking an intensive course with the Mind Valley group, and a very small group of learning from the best leaders in the space of AI and what we're learning. So the last two things we learned this last week was a lot about prompting AI workflows, how to prompt the AI. And we had Aman Obu was one of the instructors that came in, and Vic came in. And yesterday we had Juan, and I don't know his last name. He's from Argentina, that taught us a lot about creating custom GPTs. And that is incredible. I think when you can move your headspace from what is AI and GPT, instead of just making it like this search bar, and start utilizing the beast, honing in, taming it, training it to do what you need it to do for you, it just opens up a world of possibility, which is so cool. So anything that becomes repetitive, it's a click of a button and you're getting, exact answers for you. And we did talk about using it with safety and with privacy, and how to do it safely, and how to share custom GPTs, and what that really means, and how to create it in your workflow, even down to things that you guys may not even imagined, like using it for book publishing or meta ad strategy. I mean, what were your takeaways, Dave?
Yeah, just first of all, the ability to crunch data in an analytical way, in an analysis way, is incredible. I did not know that you could actually do that. Like, I could take one of my clients, 3 years worth of ads data and upload it, and then start to find out what worked, what didn't work, where we could improve, all of those metrics that you sort of look at from the outside, but you get hard data, right? It gives you a complete direction. So that was cool.
Yeah. So those are our updates.
We're going to be AI evangelists. That's what the certificate is.
It's super exciting. We love it. And we love systems and processes. And I just love that. I get so into that, because that's all about our workflow and helping other businesses find that workflow as well. So,
and we're both geeks in that space. Anyway, GPT just released Search GPT, which is going to battle Google for sure in terms of search. And so I'm in the process of just shooting a video on GEO, which is generative engine optimization, just like search engine optimization, the thing I've been doing since InfoSeek and Lycos and Alta Vista. If anybody's like, what the hell is that?
Alta Vista? What? Remember AOL?
Yeah. But we're going to rule that.
That's so cool. Yeah, we're really excited. So really, we always want to touch base on what we're learning at the AI Mastery, because it's such an intensive, and we have another class this week.
And it's not my birthday month anymore, but I did get her a late birthday present. Can you guess where it is?
I don't know, Dave. What
is it on my head?
It is. Yeah, super big shout out to the Choose Strong podcast with Sally and Eddie McRae. I got Dave an incredible, Choose Strong hat. It's awesome. Looks good on you.
So we were running today, and I realized that Wendy has a severe case of SMRS. And I don't know how we're going to heal SMRS, but it's the Sally McRae syndrome. So all of a sudden I'm in the garage. I'm like, where did all these Nikes come from?
Just loaded.
Didn't we used to
obsessed.
have Hokas and New Balance, but now it's all Nikes.
It's all Nikes.
And so I got the Sally McRae hat, the trail hat. Let's say it's the Eddie McRae hat because Eddie rocks this hat.
He does. Eddie looks great in that hat.
Sally always has the yellow one. Yeah. So happy birthday to me with a new hat. And that's the episode. So yeah, time's up.
All right. So we've got through that. Now, I do want to remind everyone that we just pushed launch on the new Embers Rising YouTube channel. And you're thinking, what? Okay, so Embers Rising has been living at my YouTube, Wendy J, and we are transitioning my YouTube to make it more of our adventure docuseries as well as our power couple education pieces and those stories. So we wanted to pull the entire podcast off of my YouTube channel and move it to its own YouTube channel because we were figuring the audience may not want to take in the docuseries that we're doing with the adventures, and maybe they're not a power couple or into that sort of thing. So we just decided, you know what, let's take the podcast and put it all on its own YouTube channel. So that launched. So watch out for that, or you can type in Embers Rising podcast on YouTube and you should find it out there. So, and then my YouTube channel, Wendy J, it's just going to,
you have to please the algorithm.
Yeah, so we're on a launch strategy. So little of the videos are coming out, which is cool because you guys can see us. If you want to see us, you can see us on YouTube, and it's why we're doing this so that you can see us and connect with us. Yeah.
Yeah, and if your audience isn't into the Embers Rising content and they don't watch it, then the algorithm just is like an anchor. It drags all of your content down, so nobody watches anything anymore. So that's the way it is. Thanks a lot, Google, YouTube.
So if you go check it out, we would love it. We would love for you to leave us a comment on one of our YouTube videos for the podcast. Click subscribe. You just hit that little bell so that you get notifications, so you know when our next releases are coming up, because we're trying to catch up and we're slowly releasing these videos because we're kind of backdating all of them, and we've got our little team working away for us, helping us. But listen, I've got to dive in because this is a little tiny intro to what we're going to talk about before I get to shout outs. And I want to talk about, let me tell you about a place that truly is unlike anywhere else on earth, a place that really where adventure feels limitless. I used to actually be an adventure guide there, and the experience is beyond epic. Imagine biking on Slickrock, legendary trails, canyoneering through mazes of hidden canyons, and running rugged paths with towering mountain backdrop behind you. It's pretty rare to find this kind of location in the world, and not to mention being surrounded by 2 national parks, the vast landscapes, the open spaces, and the winding river. It's a place that makes you feel truly alive. And I've had some of the most adrenaline-packed moments there, even saving a guest's life. And now we're excited to share this adventure with you. And if you haven't yet been, get ready, because we are going to talk all about how Moab is going to change you.
Awesome. Let's hear the applause. And as you were talking about that, I was like, she's not going to say Chuck E. Cheese, is she?
Well, I kind of gave it a little bit away when when I slipped in Slickrock. But before we dive into that, we do want to honor you for showing up. With over 5 million podcasts out there, it's no small thing to actually feel inspired, stay dedicated, and press play. So no matter where you're at in the world, maybe you're on your first run of the day, getting a walk-in, or diving into work, or maybe tackling whatever life has thrown to you right now, whatever it is, we want you to know how much it means to David and I that you've chosen to spend this time with us. Your support and your presence means everything, and we're super excited to be on this journey together with you. So yeah, mahalo for being part of our community.
Mahalo. Even if you're having a triple cheeseburger, especially if you're having a triple cheeseburger.
And that just, I guess, segues into welcome to Embers Rising. And today we are diving into our spring adventure in Moab, one of the most breathtaking places on earth if you've never been there. From the red rock landscapes to the adrenaline-packed trails, we are sharing stories from the heart of an incredible desert playground. You know, whether you're dreaming of your own adventure or just loving hearing about epic journeys, get ready to fuel your flame with today's episode. So, yeah. Before we dive into that, though, I have to take another pause and do a couple of shout outs that my team put together for us. Because I always like to include you guys in our community. I know someone was telling me the other day we were talking about our podcast, and I always say, it's not really about Dave and I, it's really about you. We are here to just listen and watch your journeys and adventures, and then hopefully we can inspire you with ours. And not only our journeys, but our missions and what we're learning in life as we move through, because really the mission of Embers Rising is fueling the flame inside. And we all go through tough times, and there's incredible life challenges that we face and you may be facing right now. And we just want to say, we believe in you. You will get through this, and you can always say to yourself, this too shall pass, and continue repeating that, because we have been through the ringer of last year, and we know that this too shall pass, and things will rise up to a higher level for you, and kind of the winds will shift for you.
Absolutely. Part of Embers Rising is just recognizing that life happens, right? But failure is really one of the greatest teachers out there. True. And so we sort of like to think of our way as failing our way to the top, right? Or fail forward, as I like to talk about it. And so if you're going through that time right now, just honor it, honor the struggle, because it's real, it's happening, happens to all of us, but there is something waiting for you at the end of the whatever it is you're going through, right?
So anyway, that brings me to a post that I wrote about 9 ways to keep love alive. And I got a great comment back from I want to say Prayanish. Anyway, he says, these are amazing tips. So thank you, Prayanish. Yanish. And then also Robin, I want to say AYME, Amy, maybe? Robin Amy says, absolutely, small, consistent actions are key. Building a strong connection through communication is vital for thriving relationships. It's the daily effort that makes a difference. Keep nurturing that bond. Thank you, Robin, for saying that, because if you are just hearing us talk about we're diving into Moab and all of a sudden I've shifted into 9 ways to keep your love alive, you're like, whoa, where is this going? Dave and I are power couple coaches for communication, and we thrive in just helping other power couples level up their life in all ways, but especially in communication. So I do have a lot of content out there that is about that, and because of our program, Speak to Connect.
At some point, we're going to have to dissect what a power couple is too, because when people hear it, they're like, well, you've got money, or well, you've got fame, but that's really not what it's all about, right? It's like having all of the pieces of the relationship, and I guess fame would be nice, but money is good too. Yeah. But there's all those other things, right? The relationship part, and just being happy, right? Like, I think the happiest couples are power couples. That's the way I like to think about it. We should mark an episode on that.
Okay, we will. Yeah, because I always think too that power couples are the ones that just really want to commit to personal development and just make their life better, because they're in it for the long haul, no matter what. And in my mind, I do think of influencers like Tom and Lisa Bilyeu, or Alex and Layla Hermosi, and the people that we've been around in our masterminds and mentored with. I'm thinking of John and Missy Butcher. I'm just thinking of so many. So, we should definitely do that episode on that.
But if you're a couple, you're probably a power couple, right? Because it's us against the world. And if you have the mindset, if you're against each other all the time, we see a lot of couples that are in that space, right? They're always arguing, and they don't have each other's back. If you're going to go to Moab, you got to have each other's back, because there's some stuff going on down there. It's no joke. Once you leave the little friendly town of Moab, there is some territory out there.
That's true. Yeah, can't wait to. Okay, we're gonna dive into that. Got another shout out to Lisa Murphy, 6249. Hope the healing is going good. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. Did another post on 4 ways to encourage open communication with your partner. Uprooted Traveler. Love number 3. My partner is my biggest cheerleader, and I'm his. And recognizing each other's wins is such a great way to bond and become closer. Man. Thank you for saying that, Uprooted Traveler. I totally agree with that. There's not a lot of times, like when you're with your partner, that you don't actually recognize each other's wins. Like, man, you did rad today on that run today. Or thank you, Dave, for this incredible hour and a half you spent in our podcast studio making sure everything worked before I stepped in,
Well, it's still early in the episode. So if it all holds together, if the duct tape holds together, then we'll know.
Another one from our whereabouts, such a great reminder that it's the little things that often matter most. I love how these small intentional acts can make a big difference. So yeah, thank you, our whereabouts. That's awesome. Another post went out as when I rise, I choose to burn brighter. And Linda Sheen.shine. Yeah, what a great handle. Linda.sheen.shine. That just sounds like a ray of sunshine. Totally agree that inner fire is powerful and it really pushes us forward. Man, thank you, Linda. That is awesome. Proactive marketing, couldn't agree more. And putts and penalties, you guys are amazing. That's so true.
Were you telling me they were actually golfing with Barack Obama?
It sounds like it. Yeah. You guys, putts and penalties, you'll have to let me know. It looked like you guys had a little golf with our former president. So a little golf bash. I'd love to hear about that.
I'd love to know if he actually drank a beer.
We want to know the details. So man, leave us a DM. Yeah. And then there was another post about, we did this signboard called Self-Care. Daily achievement is not a last minute fix. So yeah, self-care, daily achievement is not a last minute fix. And I got a great comment from Victoria. I plan to spend time relaxing in the pool and reading. How about you? Thank you. Yes, such a great reminder. Heather Wild. Yep, I just started with a coach to help me heal my gut and end a lifetime of emotional eating. I'm following the protocol to eat when I'm only moderately hungry and having a call with her today. Happy Tuesday. Wow, man, that's kind of personal. I hope that was okay that I shared those things, Heather, because thank you for sharing that. That is really personal. And just the fact that you were taking a moment to read that post and then being able to express your feelings of what you're going through. Wow, that's pretty amazing. So, yeah, that's all I have for you today. So I'm excited. Let's jump in. Dave's like, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
So every spring, Dave and I have had, in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, we have done an adventure in Moab. They've all been different. And this particular adventure, I broke down because we had footage that we can add in on the video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see some of the video or some pictures that we have from this last trip, because every time we go, we make it a little bit different. We make it a little bit better. And we try to explore things that we've never done before. And Moab is so huge. It's not just about the town, the surroundings of the environment of that incredible vast desert is mind blowing, including the mountains. I can't just say desert because the La Salle Mountains are.
La Salle's are there.
Yeah.
But within, 50 to 75 miles of Moab, there is a lifetime of adventures. And so it's so hard to take it all in. We go down for a couple weeks and we're busy there just doing things. And we hit some of the things that we've done before, like our favorites. There's a couple of hikes and things like that. But with all of the parks there and everything going on, it's like, bring it on. It's a new adventure every day.
It is true. And this particular trip to Moab, the reason I kind of waited to, I didn't want to release this episode too early, because it just took me a lot of time to make sure that we were giving you the best value for if you want to take a trip to Moab, or maybe you've already been to Moab and you just want to expand some of the trails or places that we recommend. So it just took me a little bit of time to put this one together. But I kind of want to kick off the fact that we strategically planned our days in Moab from doing the Grand Canyon. So our bodies were a little bit beat up after running rim to rim. And, it was like the next day after we ran rim to rim, we drove back to Moab to get our bikes.
Which, as it turns out, is no small feat. It's like 6 hours. And when we travel, we bring a couple of things with us.
We're now talking about getting a car topper.
Yeah, and then there'll be a trailer, and then
for the electric dirt bike.
And then I'll just have to sit outside, right? There's just so many things. So that's a good point, because we ran rim to rim, and then checkout time was 10 a.m. Besides, it was a 6-hour drive, and I think there's an hour time change between there.
I think the only saving grace for me between leaving Grand Canyon Village and getting back to Moab was somewhere right in the middle of that incredible drive is a Sonic drive-through. Thank you, Sonic, for having my incredible iced tea. It was so hot and I needed something cold, and it was in some town on the side of the road. We're like, there's a Sonic on the side. What? Let's pull over.
Right.
We were so stiff, I couldn't even move.
If you'd asked me to name the highlight of that, I would not have come up with the Sonic iced tea. My highlight was I could barely get out of bed in the morning because my legs were so stiff. And there was like 23 buckets of whatnot to take from the room, down the hallway, down the stairs, and into the back of the car, plus loading the bikes and all that sort of stuff. And so I managed to actually work the pain out in 50 trips to the car. And then Wendy gets up, she's like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Okay,
Well,
listen.
okay.
No,
yeah,
listen, I had some pretty beat up toes from a race previously. It was 3 weeks earlier. And then I had some pretty beat up toes after Grand Canyon. So I was shuffling. I was shuffling.
You were
did most
shuffling.
of the work. Yes. I prepped our everything the night before.
No, you prepped everything the night before after the run, which I was laying in bed,
Which I can't imagine I was even doing.
just laying there saying, I don't think I'm going to be able to move. And you started packing, and that forced me to get up. I'm like, oh, I'd better start packing stuff, which was a good plan.
No, it was good. So when we got back to Moab, we needed to go retrieve a couple of our bikes. And it kind of ties me into one of the greatest places to stay if you are stopping through Moab because of the convenience and location is one of the Marriotts on the north side of town. I think it's like Marriott Fairfield is the one we chose, but they're both together. Bonvoy and Fairfield are right next to each other. I think they even share the same pool complex. But yeah, that Marriott is incredible.
And it's got bike lockers, right?
And it has
Which
a nice
is
big
the deal.
private bike locker, plenty of room, super safe. It's minutes from Arches National Park, and it's also right across the street from Moab's famous running and biking pathway. So it really makes it a perfect base camp for your adventure, and it's also next to the Colorado River. So outside the parking lot is the Colorado River. So Marriott is incredible.
And in the lobby, when you get up in the morning, they have a waffle maker.
They do. Yeah. And you're like, why are you guys retrieving our bikes there? Okay. So when we originally drove towards the Grand Canyon, we stayed a night at the Marriott and dropped 2 of our bikes off at that Marriott and then took our other bikes down with us to Grand Canyon. So we weren't hauling 4 bikes, and they were kind enough to actually keep 2 of our bikes there. So it was really kind. But I mean, if you're looking for a storage locker, for your bikes and you want to stay on the north side and you're just going to be there for a couple of days, the Marriott is amazing. The other condos that we've stayed at has all been really in Spanish Valley, which is about 15 minutes south of Moab, 12 minutes south of Moab, not that far. We rented from a company called Moab VRC, or you can go to Airbnb, but it's a kind of a complex of all vacation rentals out there. So you just see it, everything's kind of together. They do have pools out there. I think there's like 3 different types of communities out there that's with this whole kind of complex of Moab vacation rental community. But
and it's out of town a little bit.
It is out of town, which is kind of nice.
Nighttime, the stars are incredible.
And you're a little closer to the LaSalle Mountain view. So that is pretty spectacular. So we like staying out there. So I wanted to kind of shout out over there. But yeah, so day 1, recovering from the Grand Canyon, Dave and I decided, you know what? We're going to test our legs out from running rim to rim with Moab's incredible smooth blacktop paved pathway called Moab Canyon Pathway, which connects 2 national parks and a state park. The trail is actually the river trail. There's a section of river trail, which I'll tell you here in a second, but it's over 100 miles of paved, non-motorized, walking, running, hiking, pushing strollers, biking pathway, and it really winds through Moab's breathtaking scenery, including that section that runs right along the Colorado River. And that's one of my favorite parts, David, is we ran it and we also biked it. It's a short, maybe a couple of miles section that literally is next to the Colorado River. And right when you're going down there, you not only are you riding your bike or running next or walking next to the Colorado River, but above you is these towering, beautiful red cliffs. And I love that. It's
an incredible ride. And I'm glad we did that the day after, just to spin the legs out and then sitting in the car that whole time. So it was time for an easy day.
Yeah, we were kind of like, let's see where my legs are, because they were pretty sore.
And to our surprise, actually pretty good. Right?
We were actually pretty good.
Sore the next day, but then it was go time.
So a couple of tips I want to share on that is there is 2 places to park. There's one called Lions Park, which is the park on the north side, closest to the pedestrian bridge that crosses over the Colorado River. There's like an orange pedestrian or red pedestrian bridge across the Colorado River. Or you can park on the other side of the road. Both parking lots are free. Right now, we have not seen any fees, and they both have restrooms. Yay. And if you want to head straight north on the pathway and you cross over the pedestrian bridge and you continue, you can access Arches National Park, which could be a great out and back. You can just go up to Arches National Park, turn around and come back. You could even ride your bike into the park and do the visitor center and ride back. Stop for restroom break, visit the visitor center, and then turn around and come back.
Why stop there? There's an incredible climb out from the visitor center, and then you can ride all the way to the back of Arches, take your road bike or your gravel bike set up for the road. And it's one of the most incredible road rides in the entire world.
We didn't do it on this trip, that particular one. We did a different road ride in Arches, which we'll tell you about here in a little minute. But that is incredible. Yeah, we rode from the Lions Park parking lot, and we rode our bikes all the way to Arches, and then we rode in the park and did the whole park. It was incredible. And it was, that year was very cold.
For road riders, the road's pretty good. There is not a lot of traffic if you hit it early. If you don't hit it early, expect a lot of traffic. And RVs, stuff like that. But there's enough curb on the side of the road. Yeah. There's enough sort of bike lane to make it work.
Yeah. No, that's incredible.
Before you move on, I think you've got to answer a question.
Yeah.
So what is your connection to Moab? Because it's not, well, I'll let you tell.
Okay. So Moab, I've just had this, I've always driven through Moab, I guess. I have some family that lives in Grand Junction, which is about 2-3 hours away in Colorado. I have a lot of family in Colorado that are kind of spread out all over the state. And Moab's just been a place that's been a sanctuary. I remember before I was guiding, I lived in Durango. And when it got cold in the winter months of Durango, when I was racing and, playing in Durango and training and everything, I would drive to Moab because it was a little warmer and I could get out and do something. I could actually bring my bikes and do something where we couldn't get out in Durango up in the mountains. It was just too cold, too wintry, too icy, too snowy. So I'd always kind of come to Moab and started to get familiar. It's been a love-hate though with Moab because I've had really great experiences and I've had really not great experiences in Moab. So when I had the not so great, I'm like, I'm never going to return there. And then it's like, it sucks you in. It pulls you in, for another magical experience. But then when I guided there, it just became even more epic because I was exposed to more of the trips that we were doing, the adventures that were available, everything from rafting the river to canyoneering, incredible bike rides.
What does guiding
camping
mean? Just for the people out there.
So we would take a group of people, and I was working with the World Outdoors. Shout out to them, incredible company. We would take a group of people for about a week, and every day you'd do a different adventure. So I was working the multi-sport adventure tours. So every day you would do a different adventure with the group. So like we were literally doing rafting down the Colorado River, or we're going on a mountain bike ride, or we're taking people canyoneering, or we're doing a hike that day, or we're camping that day. So there was always something different, which really made it fun for the guests because they never really did the same thing twice. We're always doing something different for that week. And then we would swap out, the next guest would come in for the next week and we'd do it again. So that's and there's a lot of little secrets of Moab that we had to, as adventure guys, get permits for to actually get into. A lot that you do have to kind of know your ways. Like when you're doing the maze, they call the Maze District in Arches National Park, MAIZE, the Maze District. So it is a little bit different, but it is like a maze, and you can totally get lost. You hear people all the time getting lost in Moab. So you really do want to be on your safety game and know where you're going, or hire a guide to take you down into those experiences.
In addition to having an incredible wife, I have my own Moab adventure guide that, allows me to just sort of like, well, I'll just see what happens today. And usually the night before, the guide gives you a little bit of a update, like we're going to be going mountain bike riding. It's going to be steep. You're going to probably want to bring a sandwich. But if I forget my sandwich, guess who has one? The guide. Because the guide has to carry an extra sandwich and a watermelon and whatever else you need. So it's a good deal. It worked out.
When I was adventure guiding in Durango, and I just continue scaling my adventure guiding to different locations, it just seemed natural for me to work in Moab. I understood the desert. I understood the flora, the fauna, the animals, the land. I understand cryptobiotic soil. I understood all of that. So I was able to really share that with the guests and really give them a really cool experience. And I also had some friends that were living there at the time, which is a whole nother story when I was doing natural earth building homes. And they also gave me a lot of introduction to Moab from a local point of view. And so that was really fun to see, which a lot of the things that they gave me back then, I don't know that I could find today because it was pretty deep into the canyons. But yeah.
So to close that loop, so you guided in Moab, but where else did you guide in your day?
Dave's just trying to pull the story out of me and get us out of Moab. I have guided all the national parks on the west side except for Denali in the United States. I have guided in New Zealand. I've guided in Fiji. And I think that's it. And Hawaii.
Nice. I thought you were going to forget Hawaii for a second.
Yeah. Hawaii's been out there. Yeah. I guess it's always been natural to me to be an athlete and to be outdoors and just to be working with groups of people has always been just in my DNA. And I think that's why I loved when we started moving into the coaching of couples and communication, because I've had to communicate, force yourself to communicate. When you're guiding people, you have to communicate. When you're understanding personalities, you have to find a way to communicate and connect with different personalities and also help the group make sure that no one feels left behind, right? Lilo and Stitch, right? No one feels left behind, the Ohana plan. And that's something that's always struck me. So that's why I'm really passionate about our Speak to Connect program, is helping each other like you know what your communication model is, so you know how to communicate to others, and the same, but vice versa. So yeah, I don't know.
And rumor has it that one year Outside Magazine named you Guide of the Year.
They did. It was like Adventure. I can't remember the name of the magazine. Adventure Guiding or something.
I think it was Outside Magazine.
Outside Magazine. I can't. It was one of those. Yeah. It was exciting. But anyway, okay,
so
back to Moab.
Tooting your horn. Let's move on to day 2 of Moab.
Well, no, we're actually not done with day 1 because I really wanted to share a little bit more about the Moab pathway. So if you're headed straight north on that pathway and you pass Arches National Park, you can push further and continue along Highway 191. That's the safest way to go because you are in a 2 to 4 lane next to you of vehicles. So being on that Moab pathway is so important, but you can head towards what they call Moab Brands Trail parking lot, which I believe is about 6 miles from the pedestrian bridge. You can there is a little bit of elevation, I think like 500 feet, but you can head all the way there, which is another big dirt parking lot for mountain bikes. And if you want to continue past that, you can also take the smooth black snake bike pathway underneath the highway, and you can ride all the way to the entrance of Canyonlands National Park, which will end up at Dead Horse Point. Or if you go all the way back and up, if you want a lot of elevation and you really want to hit it, you could make this 100-miler and get all the way to Grandview Point, all the way at the end of Canyonlands. That's pretty dang far.
That's pretty dang far. Also, we did a little social media shoot on that path, which was an interesting part because there's a bridge, right? And we shot under that bridge, but you can't really see where people are coming from or going to. So I had Wendy sit down on the path right on the yellow line.
That was a quick one.
With the bridge sort of entrance over her. So we had this nice light, dark. But bikes and rollerbladers and whatnot kept showing up very quickly. It's like, clear the zone.
What Dave's talking about is we shoot signboards when we go on trips. We always bring some signboards to shoot for inspiration, and it's just to try to find a spot that's not too busy. It's always a little bit tricky, but yeah, that came out really good. And then I wanted to share a place because I wanted to do some shout outs of places that we found for foodies. And if you're a foodie out there and you like, there's a wonderful place I got a picture of called Sweet Cravings. So after your adventures, stop by Sweet Cravings. I think it's called Bakery and Bistro. It is a local fave for breakfast and lunch. And they also have grab and go meals. Don't think they do dinner. But the inside has this cozy, cool, kind of old-fashioned vibe with booths, and it's really the perfect spot to refuel. And, of course, they have my favorite, iced tea, sweet or unsweetened. They've got you covered. And then, of course, they have that right when you walk in, they have I'm kind of missing my words right now, like a big shelf of refrigerator desserts.
Oh, desserts. Yeah, I mean, grab and go type desserts.
Well, grab and go foods, but then they also have incredible desserts. So, I mean, that's why it's called Sweet Cravings. So they've got you covered.
I think we got a shout out to Moonflower Co-op also. So if you park at the visitor center, and you have to go to the visitor center in Moab, and you can get every question answered. Like the people there have been
amazing
to every spot in Moab. But right across from there is a whole natural food store called Moonflower. Yes. And we always jump in there and grab some stuff.
They have a deli in the back. You can get grab and go to sandwiches and pre-mades and stuff. That great produce. Yeah, that's really fun. They have a lot of little local stuff.
And the visitor center has
Restrooms.
I was going to say bathrooms, but you got to know where the right restrooms are.
You got to know the right restrooms and where you can get in and out for, where you don't feel like obligated to go into that restaurant and then like you're trying to poach the restaurant. So yeah, the visitors.
The golden arches.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go in there.
Okay. So that was day 1. Day 2, we decided okay, our legs are feeling good. Let's try a morning hike to a trailhead called Grandstaff Canyon Trailhead. This is a 4-mile round trip trail that's pretty smooth along the bottom. It winds along a little creek. Yes, you can bring your dog. It's perfect for dogs. When I had a dog, I brought my dog. It's off Highway 191. You look for Utah State Route 128 and you drive up there for about 3 miles. You've got to get there early. That is the big secret.
There's only like 30 parking spots.
30? Come on, Dave. There's more like maybe 20. There's like 10 on each side. It is very limited.
There's not many, but our goal is always to be the first car there. That trail is one of the things that we always do when we go there, because anywhere else in the world, that trail would be a national park. It's got incredible red rock that you go up all the way.
And that beautiful running creek is so beautiful now. Of course, we were in the spring in May. I don't know if it's running later in the season, probably not, but in May is such a great time to go, and it's just, there is a little scrambling up some of the rocks that they've been doing some renovation on the trail, but it's totally worth it. And the cool thing is it's an out and back. And what your destination is going all the way to a bridge arch called Morning Glory Bridge, which I made a note is the 6th longest natural rock span in the United States.
Wow, there's a factoid. So the trail itself, no bikes, but is highly runnable in a lot of spots. You, like Wendy said, you got to do some scrambling in some areas, but either a morning hike or bang out a quick 8-mile run. But it's some of the most amazing terrain around there. Not a lot of climbing, a little bit, but you end up underneath this arch, and when you were guiding there, you used to do rappelling.
We hired one of the canyon guides in town who would take you with their equipment to go to rappel over the Morning Glory arch. And the cool thing is about that is you can rappel together. When we were doing it, you can rappel together. So it was like 2 people on each side going down together. It was really cool. Yeah, I didn't get to go on one of the trips that day, but
and then you get to hike down, and they have sandwiches.
So
I want sandwiches.
Highly recommend going to Grandstaff Canyon Trailhead. It's just really popular. It is not off the beaten path, but it's absolutely worth every penny to go there. It's just, you've got to get there early. So, and early, we're talking like 7 o'clock early, not like 9 o'clock. It's a really early time to be there. But it's great for dogs because there's water.
Isn't 7 o'clock late for us? Like, I hear 7 o'clock and early, and I'm thinking, what are we talking about here?
The other thing we did in the afternoon was we explored a road called Sandflats Road. And I don't know if you remember this, David, but Sandflats Roads leads to the Slickrock Trailhead, the famous Slickrock Trailhead. You do have to pay a little bit of fee for the state park, but this is the big playground for all the locals and all the tourists that come in. That's super easy to get to. Sandflats Road. Remember that. Put a note in your head, Sandflats Road, because it is the gateway to everything from biking, running, ATV, and RVing, camping. It just had everything. And we did a little more exploring further back. In fact, we took the road all the way down to the very end where it dead ends, which was absolutely incredible. And then from there, you either bike or run. And I believe that dead end started part of the Porcupine Rim Trail, which is on our next adventure list, which we wanted to run.
We got to either run or ride that. Yeah, we've done neither. So,
and beautiful views up there. Sandflats remember we got out and we took some pictures of those incredible just rolling kind of rock mounds out there. It's beautiful view.
Amazing terrain.
You're up a little bit of elevation, but you look back at Moab and it's just incredible. It's really worth your time to check out Sandflats Road.
And I think they only charge like $10 or $12, but the lady said, "What are you going to be doing?" And we said, "Nothing. We're just going to check it out." And she said, "Oh, then there's no charge. Just go in, honey."
We weren't actually doing an activity, but totally worth it. If you're a camper, check it out. Go early, get a spot, all that, or check out Slickrock Trailhead. Food again. I always got to bring in food because Dave's a foodie. But do you remember the place? Tell us, Dave. The Ye Old Meat Shop. I think it's called Ye Old Geezer Meat Shop or something.
Ye Old Geezer Meat Shop. So it is as you leave Southtown on the west hand or right hand side. And it's just a custom meat shop. So I'm a hardcore carnivore. And yeah, they've just got custom elk steaks and local beef, big ribeyes, anything you could imagine. So it's a little bit spendy, but highly worth it to just get stuff that hasn't been frozen and the guy cuts it for you. And they're famous for their jerky. So make sure that you get some of their jerky. Yeah.
Yeah, because in Moab, you have limited resources for grocery stops. You've got City Market, you've got the Village Market, and you've got what you had mentioned, the Moonflower Natural Foods. So if you're looking for more of a meat option, maybe check out the Ye Old Geezer Meat Shop, which you can't miss. It's a cute little building on the right.
And in fact, we're sponsored by Ye Old Geezer Meat Shop.
I
Wouldn't
wish.
that be great? I'd love to have that shirt.
That's hilarious. No, that was good. So I got to throw in some foodie things. Day 3, we decided to go ride, crazy enough, Arches National Park at the very end, a place called Devil's Garden Trailhead. Do you remember that? We drove into Arches. If you go there early, before sunrise, before 6 a.m., if you go through that Arches little ranger station before they charge you, you can get in for free.
So the park is open 24/7, but they charge from 6 or 7 to 6 or 7, something like that. But you can go in any other time and just drive right through, and you don't have to make the reservation to sit in line at your appointed hour. And yeah, getting up early is worth it.
So we went and we drove early. We wanted to see the sunrise come up in Arches, and we drove all the way to the very back to get a parking spot. And it was crazy because when we got to, which is at the very end, so maybe it took us like 40 minutes to get back there. We did stop and take some sunrise photos, but got back there. Maybe there was like, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 cars back there. A lot of parking. But when we got back from our bike ride, every single spot was filled up.
People were circling. So yeah, so we jumped off and did, I don't know, maybe a 35 mile bike ride. And which is great from there because it's all downhill for the first 10 miles. Just remember, you always got to climb back up.
Yes, we rode our bikes to, I want to say Balance Rock. We took some photos. We rode up the road to Balance Rock, and then we kind of went down to the parking lot of Delicate Arch. We didn't go look at Delicate Arch, but we went down the road, and it makes a big loop down there.
Yeah, we didn't hike up to it, but we pushed our bikes and hiked up to
you could kind of see
the
it.
view area.
Yeah. And the cool thing about Devil's Garden Trailhead is there's actually a 2-mile round trip hike that you can go on that's on a relatively flat pathway. There are some restrooms also in the parking lot. I always say yay to that. But it goes back to the famous landscape arch, which I wrote a stat down here is the longest arch in North America with a light opening of 306 feet. Landscape arch will not be there very long, folks. So if you get a chance, go check it out because it's starting to get razor thin up there. And
yeah, you're not even allowed to get near it or under it anymore because it will fall sometime in the near future.
Yeah, so go check that out.
But what's cool about that is we parked, we rode, came back, had a snack, put the bikes on the rack and locked them, and then turned around and did the hike.
Yeah, that was great. So, yeah, that was a great day. I think anytime you're in Moab, try to find an adventure in Arches National Park because it's convenient, it's close, and it's not that far. The other national park, which was our day 4, is Canyonlands. There's 2 districts of Canyonlands. There's Canyonlands, the main district, which is Island of the Sky, which is right there north of Arches. And you go up the big long road and it takes you to all the little spots you can venture out in and have the overlooks to that grand view. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous, but it is a long day because it's a lot of driving and it's very busy and crowded. If you want a little more serene, drive 40 minutes south of Moab to a place called the Needles District of Canyonlands, which is kind of the south corner of Canyonlands. When you look at the national park map, it's the south corner of Canyonlands. And I would say it's about 40 miles drive maybe to the entrance. And then it was like another maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes to actually the visitor center once we got in the park.
And it's
that
sort of
about right?
yeah, and you make the turn and it's sort of nondescript, right? Like you're
It looks
going
like you're
through the
going
desert.
nowhere.
You're like,
Huge
well,
pastures and fields.
what's this going to be? Yeah.
But the couple of cool things that it goes past in Needles is Newspaper Rock is on the way, and you definitely should stop and see that because who knows how long that will be. Newspaper Rock, I always say, is like the first social media, which is about 2,000 years old of markings on this incredible rock of Native American stories.
It's the first MySpace.
MySpace, it has hunting patterns, crop cycles, and their lives and their stories. It's like Instagram for Native Americans. They were putting their stories up. So it's definitely worth stopping at Newspaper Rock. And then there was also a creek, David. Do you remember that we stopped at a creek? I think it was on the way back out. We stopped at a very cool creek that was a little bit of a sanctuary. We walked around. There was a little waterfall. There was a little creek.
It was just an unmarked turn off.
It was unmarked turn off.
Turn off the road and park your car and sort of hike down and just check it out.
I think we were shooting some signboards there too.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's always something with a camera.
So the best thing to do at Needles is head straight on into the park and park at the visitor center. Awesome visitor center, like incredible, blow your mind visitor center. It's so like clean and it's just less crowded. You can totally hang in the parking lot. We parked our car, took our bikes off, and then we rode the whole park, which I think is, what do they say, like 35 miles or something like that?
And it's a mixture of dirt and road. So I would definitely go with your gravel bike, or we took our mountain bikes.
We took our mountain bikes. Did we take our mountain bikes? I don't remember. Maybe we did.
Because there was quite a bit of dirt roading.
Maybe there was, yeah. It was awesome. And I think experiencing the park on our bikes was way worth it if you just want to just get the feel of it. Not that you're on a mission to go hike it. So doing the whole park and capturing the views out there and just your car is safe. Leave it at the visitor center, go do the whole ride. That was epic. That was really beautiful. And there was even more that we wanted to do. Remember that trail that we went down for the visitor center that could actually take you to the view of the other part of Canyonlands? We didn't do it. We rode down a little bit and then we turned around and came back.
And I remember we parked our bikes on the side and then went up over a rock into an incredible canyon. And against Wendy's better judgment, she said, no, don't launch the drone. But I said, I have to. And so, well, yeah, I launched the drone. It was very quick. I retrieved it. And as we went back, here comes Mr. Ranger. He's parked on the side of the road because he saw our bikes and wanted to see what's going on. And fortunately, I have the Hover Air drone, which you can retrieve like in 10 seconds. So it was in the back of my jersey. But it's against the law, so I don't recommend it. It's against the law, so I do recommend it. But don't listen to me.
Because he's a rebel. No, that we got some great footage, but it is really beautiful. So truly less crowded and well worth your time to check out Needles National Park, Needles Canyonlands National Park. I remember guiding a group there, David, and it's so cool. You do have to get reservations to camp, but there is a huge rock outcropping back there. It's for a group. But if you can get a reservation for that, you can actually sleep underneath the rock outcropping. It was really cool. We did it because we had a huge group, and you can, but it's pretty highly coveted. I mean, it's really hard to get reservations in that particular spot, but it is beautiful, and the hiking's beautiful. There's some incredible hikes that go outside of Needles. I believe there's some off-roading tours that you can take in there. I think there's rock climbing that you can do in Needles District. So there's a lot. So that was day 4. Day 5. If your head isn't spinning yet from all our adventures, yeah, we haven't even taken a day off from running rim to rim. We decided we're going to go mountain biking. Of course, we're in Moab. So let's check out the Moab brand trails, which was Dark 30 because we decided we wanted to capture some drone footage. And we were like, we don't want to get in trouble. Now, we're not in a state park or we're not in a national park, but still, it is annoying, David, when someone launches a drone and the sound and all that's just irritating.
So I'm super conscious about not launching when there's other people around. Yeah. Just, you don't want to encroach on their experience to hear the whizzing blades, which I love the sound of that, by the way. So if you're a drone owner, you're probably just with me. So Moab brand is cool because it's on the backside of Arches National Park. And again, you're sort of leaving Moab headed
on 191.
North.
Yeah, it's off the highway.
And it's really beautiful off to the left. A lot of Red Rock, where you go up to like Gemini Bridges, that area. And that's also part of the area where they launched the Moab 240 and that Moab 3-day running race, right? Like it's all based right out of that area. But they have just created like this trail system, very well marked, easy to understand, lots of parking. And again, we get there at sunrise and there's one other vehicle.
The brand trails are really a network of trails a few miles north of Moab, and the trail names are based on the cattle brands that spell out Moab, M-O-A-B. So they have trails that are called like Easy Bar M for Moab, that forms a loop around the other trails that's easy to reach. But this is great for mountain bikes. We droned, we went early, we caught the sunrise, and literally, like David said, when you see the sunrise hit the backside of Arches National Park and you look over at it, wow. It is absolutely incredible. I will leave a link in the show notes to learn more about the Moab brand trails because it is pretty epic for mountain biker if you are a mountain biker.
And we hadn't been mountain biking because we're coming out of winter and we just don't do that much mountain biking in the winter. And I got to say, the trails were a little more technical than we had expected they're going to be. And we're laughing at ourselves like,
a couple snakes. We had some snake encounters.
We had some snake encounters, but there were some signs of fear, like it's time to stop, right? But whenever you feel fear, it's really like a sign that you need to go hard. That's where you grow. You grow in the fear.
That's right. Yeah, you do. You grow during tough times. So had to do another wrap up on this, but the food, another foodie shout out to a couple of other places that we love. Thai Bella. Do you remember we did an evening at Thai Bella?
Yeah, awesome
it's
food.
It's in the backside.
And you can sit outside.
Yeah, it's off the main drag of all the Moab restaurants on the main drag of 191. It's on the backside, but you can sit outside and the best customer service, super quality Thai food. I love the spring rolls. What did you get?
I usually get something like the Penang curry.
That's right, yeah.
So I got the Penang curry. They had like a pineapple fried rice, so I had to do that also. And then I think I did the tom yum soup with a little bit of shrimp in it. So
totally worth it. They have a Moab food truck park, which has a lot of options if you want to check that out. That is also in town. And then we like to direct friends and family to Gloria's because Gloria's has something for everyone, including if it's like fresh juices, smoothies, breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have the whole like corner of Moab, of the street out there. And it's just great for sitting outside. Wonderful patio. I mean, Gloria's. Do you remember? It's just kind of random, but we just love it there. So they have everything.
It's definitely worth it, especially if you're there on a weekend to go downtown.
It's very family friendly.
On Saturday night.
Yes.
During the summer, and every Saturday night, all of the hot rods and cars and bikers, they just line up all of the Jeeps and 4-wheel drives, and it's just bumper to bumper downtown for like 2 stoplights. And so people actually bring lawn chairs and just sit, and it's not an organized parade. It's just a show. And it just reminds me of what, I don't know, small town should be, right? Like everybody just hanging out and enjoying the scene. We never see anything too rowdy or weird. No. It's just, people having fun with their stuff in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, it is a blast. So had to give a shout out to some restaurant. I think Zach's Pizza's there too. I don't think we've tried that, but it does look pretty good. There was another pizza place that you did try though, for the first night when we stayed at the Marriott.
I don't remember the name. I know where it is. But it's the only wood-fired oven pizza in town, and incredible product. They've got a really good pie. And that's the only reason I run is so I can eat pizza and burgers. I mean, let's be true. And that's trail running is all about snacks. You get to walk through the woods and eat snacks.
You might as well.
What could be better?
Well, we've got to wrap this episode up because we have gone way over our time, David, and we've got to wrap it up. So we appreciate you sticking with us through all of our 5 days of Moab adventures. And we do want to remind you, if you have an idea for a future episode or an adventure that we should jump on, DM us because we're already working on 2025. And we do want to remind you next episode, we're going to be talking about building our own life manifesto and what that means and what we are doing in the meantime to actually build that out. So we are super excited to share that with you.
We're living proof that you're one decision away from having a completely different life. And so make the decision to go to Moab or do something exciting, and you will enjoy.
Yeah, get out there. We still got some good season left to get out there. So we do have to ask you for a little bit of help. If you could, we are a brand new podcast, and we would love it if you could rate us on Spotify and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That would be super helpful. And then if you could follow us on social media, that'd even be more amazing, or watch for any updates on my website, wendyj.com. And then check out Embers Rising podcast on YouTube. We would love that, to hear your thoughts about the video quality. If you see us and you think that we could make a change or differences, let us know, because we are doing everything and to make it better for you and your experience. So I'm going to wrap this up, Dave.
Okay, it's lunchtime.
Hey, all right, to wrap this up, this incredible episode of Moab Adventures, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us for today's adventures. I hope this episode gave you a taste of what Moab has to offer, from the epic trails to the must-stop local spots like Sweet Cravings and Tybella. Whether you're planning your next big trip or just dreaming of one, remember, the best adventures are the ones that push you out of your comfort zone, like David said, and connect you to the beauty around you. So as always, keep fueling your flame, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep going. Aloha.
Aloha.